So you've heard about the negative impact of fast fashion for humans and the environment, and you want to avoid it. What are your options? It can be confusing to navigate sustainable fashion as there are many misconceptions about the best ways to participate in the movement. Expensive ethical brands are not the only or the best alternative to fast fashion. In fact, the best alternatives cost less or nothing at all. In this video, I'll go over some great options you have if you're trying to avoid fast fashion. If you're new here, I'm Lily and I talk about sustainable fashion and living on this channel. If you're into that, I hope you'll stick around. So quick disclaimer before we begin. I fully recognize that these options might not work for everyone due to time, location, size options, physical abilities, and many other factors. If you need to shop fast fashion because the alternatives don't work for you, don't feel guilty for trying your best. Just be mindful of your consumption, take good care of whatever you get, and make it last as long as possible. And this goes for everyone. So the first alternative I'd recommend is to double check your closet. Before you shop, take a good look at what you already have. I know this is a boring solution, but it's the cheapest and most sustainable option. If you grew up accumulating clothes like me, I used to love fast fashion, you might be surprised and find that you actually have something similar to what you want. Dig through your drawers, unearth the pieces at the bottom, and reorganize so that you're prepared for any change in seasons. Before you decide to bring anything new into your closet, it's a good practice to just see if you actually need it. I like to ask myself, do I have something similar that could work? Can I borrow it from someone else? Could I get at least 30 wears out of it? Will I keep it for years? Will I still want it if it's not trendy anymore? Ultimately, buying less and loving what you already have, even if it's old fast fashion, is the best first step in participating in the slow fashion movement. If you're feeling bored with your closet, it's definitely still possible to create new outfits with old clothing. For example, I've had this white sweater for almost 5 years, but I've made limited types of outfits with it because I wasn't sure how to style it beyond jeans or a t-shirt. This brings me to today's sponsor, Style for Substance, a platform of personal stylists that you can consult virtually, and it's a woman-owned small biz. I had the chance to use Style for Substance and I asked my stylist Maura about this white sweater. She suggested trying a button-up or turtleneck underneath the sweater, which I'd never considered because of the 3/4 length sleeves. I wasn't sure that it would work, but I like how it turned out, and now I have a bunch of other combos to try. Sustainable fashion is inherently linked to personal style because you'll naturally buy less when you know how to style what you have. And when you do shop, you'll know what you truly love and works for you, so you'll keep wearing it for years to come. If you're looking for some ways to maximize the clothing you already have, or you need some other style advice, I'd recommend the team at Style for Substance. They offer a wide range of appointments with the cost ranging from $30 to $250 depending on the length, stylist, and the focus. I also had the chance to meet with Viola for a color consult, which helped me understand which colors look most flattering on me, and she even prepared a palette for me with fabric swatches of my best colors, and this will help me make more informed decisions as I create outfits or buy clothing in the future. Definitely check out Style for Substance, and I'll leave a link in the description where you can book an appointment or get a gift certificate for someone you love. And now let's get back to the rest of the fast fashion alternatives. Number 2 is to mend or upcycle your clothes or to find a tailor. If the piece that you want to replace has a small hole or tear, then mending it should be even quicker than searching for a new piece. Unfortunately, sewing isn't taught in schools in the US, so many folks don't know how to mend their clothes. There are a lot of free sewing tutorials on YouTube though, and while your first couple tries may take some time, you'll save time and money in the long run. If you have a friend who knows how to sew, you can also invite them over and have a clothes mending party, which is one of my favorite sustainable hangout ideas. It's a really relaxing activity to do together, and it leaves space for chatting or watching a TV show in the background, and in turn, you can teach your friend a new skill in the next hangout. If you're feeling creative, you might even sew your own clothes out of old fabric or scraps. Bed sheets, for instance, are great, or you can embellish an existing piece that you have. I recently made a detachable collar out of an old high school orchestra shirt, and I'm really proud of it, even though my friend told me it makes me look like a colonizer.
What's the matter?
Just hay fever.
Tailors can also be an affordable option in some places, especially Europe. You won't need to learn how to sew in this case, and you'll also be supporting local businesses, which are often owned by immigrant women. I actually recently got a pair of pants tailored, and I'm in love with the way they turned out. They used to have this weird flap on them, but now they're completely gone, and the tailor also helped me make them wider leg. It cost me $35 since it was a more complex task, but if you just need something hemmed or adjusted, it'll probably be around $10 to $20. I also recently learned that getting tailor-made clothing is actually quite common in South and Southeast Asia. You buy the fabric and then you take it to the tailor who will make whatever you want. While it's more common for cultural clothing, they can make anything. It's obviously not as affordable as fast fashion, but it's pretty special to have something made specifically for you, and you're likely to cherish it for longer. Number 3 is to borrow or swap. My favorite pieces last year came from my mom's closet, and they were old mock necks that she was planning to turn into cleaning rags, and I was mortified by that, so I rescued them. So definitely check your family's wardrobes or reach out to friends to see if you can borrow what you need, or if you simply just want some variety, you could organize a clothing swap. Sizing might not always line up, so if you don't have a friend your size, see if you can host something through your local Buy Nothing group. These groups were created so that people in the same area could give away and get things for free, and most of the exchanges are individual, but people will sometimes organize larger swapping events, and people also frequently gift clothing in these groups. Number 4 are buy-sell trade groups. If you're looking for something from a specific brand, try buy-sell trade groups on Facebook. In these groups, people will sell their lightly used items from that brand at a lower price. You can then claim the items and pay via PayPal or Venmo. Of course, there is a certain degree of risk, but some groups will have seller ratings, and admins will also kick anyone out who isn't honest. PayPal also comes with buyer protection, and I believe Venmo as well, so you should use that and say you're paying for a good or service to have that kick in. I've used a buy-sell trade group before and had a good experience. It does take a little digging since the items aren't organized like they usually are in an online shop, but you can use the search function, and the algorithm also does a good job of showing what you're looking for. Kind of creepy, but I guess it's actually useful in this case. You can also post an ISO in search of in some groups to expedite the process. To find a buy-sell trade group, look up the specific brand plus buy-sell trade or resale. There are also some groups around a specific interest like activewear or slow fashion. Number 5 is to go thrifting in person. Thrifting has become a lot more expensive in some corporate chains like Goodwill, but local charity shops often have more stable prices and they tend to support great causes. And by the way, I think thrifting is for everyone regardless of income, as only around 20% of donated clothes get resold and the rest gets trashed or dumped in the global south. If you're not thrifting out of necessity, there are definitely ways to be more mindful to people who are, but the gentrification of thrifting narrative that has been pushed is largely misinformed. It's a very nuanced discussion, so you can learn more in my video up above. When you go thrifting, be prepared to sift through a lot of stuff. It definitely takes some time, energy, and patience to look through the racks. If you prefer a more curated selection, consignment stores like Plato's Closet or Buffalo Exchange are a good option, but they are pricier than traditional thrift shops. Vintage shops also have a nicer shopping experience, but they are typically pretty expensive. For those who don't mind the digging, the Goodwill bins are the last stop before clothes are trashed, recycled, or shipped abroad. You can get a lot of items for a low price at the bins. There also might be thrift shops that sell by weight in your area that have a similar concept. For those who need it, there are also some free clothes banks. You can often find them at churches, but there are also chains like Dress for Success for women's professional clothing and Cinderella's Closet for prom dresses. Number 6 are flea markets. Flea markets seem to be more common in Europe than the US, but you can often find high quality pre-owned clothing for a low price. I have a few sweaters from flea markets in France and the UK that I've gotten for the equivalent of just a few dollars. I'm actually wearing one right now, and they're still my favorites after 3 years. Some flea markets occur weekly while others are pop-up events. Google to see what's happening near you. Number 7 are estate, garage, and moving sales. Estate sales can be a great way to find vintage clothing. You can look on estatesales.net to see the ones happening near you. Garage and moving sales don't have as good of a centralized platform, but Craigslist is a good start. Number 8 is thrifting online. If you don't have a thrift store near you, or if you prefer the convenience of shopping online, some of the most popular ones are eBay, Etsy, Poshmark, ThredUp, Mercari, and Depop. I'll have all of these linked below with some referral links. Just keep an eye out for people who are drop shipping fast fashion items at a higher price. This is where sellers will order directly from the manufacturer and ship to you. While you may get lucky and find brand new pieces that simply didn't work out for the seller, many items are actually mass produced on these platforms. You can recognize these items if the images are taken from a website and the seller has a large stock of many sizes. This is especially a problem on Etsy. You can see my above video for more info, but I've also definitely seen it on Poshmark, Depop, and Mercari as well. Among the different platforms, I've personally had the best experiences with Poshmark and Mercari. I like ThredUp as well, but I find it harder to search through the items, and the item details aren't always accurate or complete. I do have a couple hacks I use to make the process easier, and I'll link my TikTok that explains those hacks below. In general, thrifting online is more expensive than thrifting in person due to the added shipping costs. If you're looking for a larger amount of affordable clothing, thrifting online may not be the right option, though some sellers on resale apps will discount bundles. And there are also resellers that will go out and thrift bundles for you. I personally use online thrifting when I need something super specific that may be harder to find in stores. It's actually great to find lightly used, more affordable pieces from sustainable brands. Online rental subscriptions aren't on this list because they encourage overconsumption. Of course, if you need to rent something fancy for a special occasion, that's a different story than renting clothes monthly just to constantly have new options. I have a whole video about whether renting clothes is sustainable if you want to learn more. Number 9 is to shop more affordable, sustainable brands. Affordability is of course relative, but there are some sustainable brands that are cheaper than the more expensive fast fashion brands like Aritzia and Princess Polly. So here are some sustainable brands with these relatively lower prices, which are linked below. The first is Pact, which has classic clothing made from GOTS certified organic cotton. They are also fair trade. 4 Days makes organic cotton clothing with a closed loop model. You can send old clothes of their brand and or any other brand back for recycling. Booty makes basics from natural materials. Their pieces are sewn in WRAP certified factories. I really like their underwear. I have more recommendations in my ethical and sustainable brand directory, but just keep in mind they will be pricier. If you're buying less often though and making your clothes last, you might actually save money over time by investing in these pieces. In any case, let me know if there are any other fast fashion alternatives that you would add to the list. Thank you all for watching. As usual, the text version of this video is over on my blog, which is linked below with all those other resources I mentioned. Please remember to go check out Style for Substance, and I'll see you all next time.